What if I told you that every emotion you feel, every fleeting thought that crosses your mind, and even those sudden impulses that seem to appear out of nowhere, might not be entirely your own? Has this ever happened to you, feeling pulled in a direction you can't quite explain, as if something invisible is guiding your decisions, your desires, even the way you see the world? What you're about to discover might surprise you, because right now, in this very moment, there could be unseen forces, quietly shaping your energy, subtly influencing your choices, and perhaps even draining your power without you realizing it. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. You see, most people go through life believing their reality is entirely shaped by luck, hard work, or circumstance. Yet, hidden beneath the surface of our modern, hyper-rational world lies an ancient truth, one that has been carefully concealed, forgotten, or deliberately erased from our collective memory. It is the understanding that everything is energy, not as a metaphor, not as a poetic concept, but as a tangible, living force that flows through every aspect of existence. Your body, your thoughts, your words, the spaces you inhabit, everything is vibrating with its own unique frequency. And here's where the real secret begins. Energy can be manipulated. This isn't about fantasy or superstition. For thousands of years, ancient civilizations, from the Egyptian priesthood to the Vedic sages of India, knew that mastering energy was the highest form of power. They understood that your inner state, your emotional frequency, and even the words you speak have the potential to alter not just your own life, but the reality around you. These teachings weren't scattered myths. They were systems of knowledge, refined and tested over centuries, passed down to those deemed worthy of understanding the hidden laws of the universe. Imagine walking into a room and feeling instantly drained, as though the very air has been pulled out of you, or meeting someone who leaves you inexplicably restless for hours after the conversation ends. Has this ever happened to you? This isn't just bad vibes, it's energetic influence, sometimes intentional, sometimes unconscious, but always real. And here's the unsettling part. If you're not consciously shaping your own energy, someone or something else is doing it for you. Energy responds to intention. It follows your attention like a shadow, gathering strength where you focus it most. This is why certain thoughts, whether positive or negative, seem to magnetically attract more of the same. It's not coincidence, it's design. And the more you understand this, the more you can begin to see the hidden threads that connect your inner state to the outer events of your life. But we live in a time where this knowledge has been buried, under layers of noise, distraction, and disinformation. The modern world teaches us to look outward for answers, to see health as a purely chemical process, emotions as nothing but fleeting reactions, and spirituality as dogma to be accepted or rejected. Meanwhile, the subtle language of energy, the very key to personal sovereignty, has been pushed to the margins, dismissed as superstition, while quietly being used by those who understand its potential. Stay with me until the end, because as we peel back these layers, you'll begin to see how this hidden reality operates, not in theory, but in every moment of your life. You'll discover how your thoughts, emotions, and surroundings create an energetic blueprint, and how that blueprint can be influenced, drained, or fortified. And most importantly, you'll learn how to reclaim the power that has always been yours, waiting for you to remember it. So, take a deep breath, feel the space around you, notice the subtle hum beneath your awareness. Because what comes next will open a door you may never have realized was there. And once you step through, you won't see your reality in quite the same way again. If you're enjoying these deep dives, consider subscribing so you're here for the next one. Energy is not just an abstract concept. It's the invisible current running through every moment of your life, shaping experiences before you even realize what's happening. It's in the words you choose, the tone of your voice, the posture of your body. It's in the spaces you inhabit, the colors that surround you, even in the pauses between conversations. This current moves according to universal laws as precise as gravity, yet unlike gravity, they are not openly taught. They've been hidden, veiled, and in some cases deliberately obscured, because those who understand them hold a level of influence that goes far beyond the physical. Think about the last time you walked into a room and instantly felt different, lighter, heavier, more at ease, or strangely agitated, without anyone saying a word to you. That shift wasn't your imagination, it was your energy field interacting with the field of that environment. Certain places are charged with vitality, like they're breathing life into you, while others pull at you like quicksand, draining your motivation and focus. And here's the revealing truth. These effects are rarely random. In many cases, they are the result of energetic patterns left behind by people, events, or even intentional design. Some individuals have an uncanny ability to affect the energy around them. They may not even be consciously aware of it, but you feel it. Sometimes it's uplifting, like being around someone who naturally inspires and motivates you. But other times it's quietly depleting. It's the friend who leaves you exhausted after a short conversation, the colleague whose presence makes it hard to think clearly, or the stranger whose glance lingers just long enough to unsettle you. This is energetic manipulation in action, and it doesn't always require malice to have an impact. Ancient cultures understood this intimately. For them, energy wasn't a poetic metaphor. It was a language as real and vital as speech, one that could be read, written, and spoken through intention. The Egyptians built temples not only for worship but as living structures tuned to certain frequencies, amplifying the energy of those within. The Vedic sages mapped the human energetic system in extraordinary detail, understanding how breath, focus, and vibration could alter the state of both body and mind. These teachings weren't stored in dusty scrolls for the sake of tradition. They were applied daily, guiding decisions, shaping communities, and influencing outcomes in ways modern society can hardly imagine. The tragedy, and perhaps the strategy of the modern age, is that this language has been nearly erased from everyday life. We've been taught to dismiss these sensations as mood swings or coincidence, while the underlying mechanics are quietly used in advertising, politics, and even architecture to guide behavior on a level most people never detect. If you're not consciously shaping your own energy, someone else is already doing it for you. And unlike casual decisions about what to eat for lunch or which route to take home, this isn't about preference. It's about the very frequency you're living in, and that frequency dictates the quality of your reality. When you begin to recognize that every space, every interaction, every thought leaves an imprint, you start to see life in a completely different way. You realize that your personal energy field is not a passive receiver, but a transmitter, sending out signals that shape the kind of experiences you attract. It's not about forcing outcomes or trying to control the world around you. It's about tuning yourself so precisely that the external world naturally aligns to match your state. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding these subtle yet powerful dynamics is the first step toward reclaiming the authorship of your own life. It's about seeing beyond the surface and recognizing the currents running underneath everything you do, everywhere you go, and everyone you meet. Once you start noticing, you can never unsee it, and from there, the real transformation begins. Write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Reclaiming this wisdom is like rediscovering a language you once spoke fluently but somehow forgot. It's not about learning something foreign or abstract. It's about remembering a truth that has been quietly pulsing in the background of your life since the moment you were born. Your soul recognizes it instantly because it's part of your original design, a way of perceiving and influencing reality that operates on a level deeper than thought, deeper than emotion, and yet subtly guiding both. When you begin to engage with this invisible layer intentionally, the shifts are profound. You notice you're no longer as reactive. Your choices feel aligned, and the events around you seem to respond to you rather than happening to you. In ancient times, those who mastered this understanding were not casual observers of life. They were architects of it. Priests, shamans, and rulers didn't simply rely on political power or brute strength. They wove their influence into the very fabric of their environment through the mastery of vibration and intention. They knew that true authority came from the ability to shape the unseen forces that, in turn, shape everything else. And while we often think of these figures as distant myths, their practices were grounded in precise, repeatable techniques designed to generate tangible results in the physical world. Subscribe, and let's keep exploring these ideas together, step by step. Nowhere is this more evident than in ancient Egypt, where temples were not merely sacred spaces, but intricate machines for channeling and amplifying energy. Every stone placement, every column, every carving was part of a larger vibrational blueprint. The architecture itself was designed to resonate with both the natural frequencies of the earth and the higher cosmic patterns, creating an environment where transformation was almost inevitable. Standing inside such a structure wasn't just inspiring, it was physically altering your energy field. The priests of these temples were more than religious leaders. They were technicians of the unseen. They understood that the human voice, when used with precision, could be a tool as powerful as any instrument. Through specific tones, rhythms, and words, they could realign the energy within a person's body or shift the atmosphere of an entire room. To them, sound was not just a form of expression, it was creation itself. Every chant, every invocation was a deliberate act of shaping reality from the inside out. This was not unique to Egypt. Across the world, different cultures arrived at the same hidden truth, that energy responds to deliberate shaping, and that mastery over it could change the course of an individual's life, or even the fate of a community. The knowledge was universal, though expressed in many forms, because the principles were as fundamental as the law of gravity. And while time and modernity have buried much of it under layers of skepticism and distraction, the essence remains unchanged. When you understand that environments can be designed to nurture your energy instead of deplete it, that your own voice can tune your body into states of clarity and vitality, and that intention is the true engine behind every outcome, something inside you shifts. You start to see the hidden architecture of your daily life, the patterns in your interactions, the subtle pulls in certain spaces, the unspoken exchanges of vitality between people. It's like pulling back a curtain and realizing there's been an entire world operating behind the scenes all along, quietly influencing your decisions and your direction. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you see how these ancient systems worked, you begin to recognize echoes of them in your own surroundings, in the layout of cities, the design of buildings, the way certain words or symbols are repeated in the spaces you frequent. And that's when the real revelations begin to surface. Write in the comments, "I can feel the hidden currents." In Vedic India, the understanding of energy was not limited to spiritual contemplation. It was woven into the fabric of daily life. The chakras were not abstract symbols for meditation posters. They were living centers of energy, each one connected to specific aspects of health, emotion, and consciousness. The nadis, those subtle channels through which prana flows, formed an intricate network linking body and mind in a way modern science is only beginning to explore. And prana itself, the vital life force, was seen as the most precious resource, one that could be cultivated, directed, and expanded to shape not just the present moment, but the entire trajectory of a person's destiny. For the Vedic masters, controlling energy wasn't a matter of mysticism. It was a deliberate act of authorship over one's own fate. This same principle appeared in Taoist traditions, where internal alchemy became a highly refined discipline. They understood that every emotion was a form of energy, and that when left unmanaged, it could distort the body's natural harmony. Anger, fear, or grief, if allowed to linger, could eventually crystallize into illness. But mastery over the breath, combined with movement, focus, and intention, could dissolve these blockages, restore balance, and even extend life far beyond the ordinary span. To the Taoists, vitality was not a gift of chance but the result of a conscious relationship with one's own internal currents. In their eyes, the body was not a prison of the spirit, but a vessel capable of refinement to the point of near immortality. Join the journey. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And yet, as centuries passed, the threads of this knowledge were carefully hidden from public view. In some places, it was encoded into symbols and rituals accessible only to those initiated into secret schools. In others, it was wrapped in layers of metaphor so that only the persistent could uncover its practical meaning. Eventually, it was publicly discredited, dismissed as primitive superstition or quaint folklore, until the average person no longer saw energy as something they could work with at all. The result was a society stripped of its most intimate form of self-mastery, left to seek power exclusively in the external, through wealth, control, or force, while the real engine of creation remained largely in the hands of those who understood its true nature. The irony is that while the masses were told to ignore or mock these ideas, certain groups quietly continued to use them. Not in the open, of course, but subtly, embedding them into architecture, ceremonial protocols, even the timing of important decisions, whether in political strategies, psychological manipulation, or cultural influence. The principles of energy work remained at play behind the scenes, and because most people no longer recognized the language, they couldn't see how it was shaping their moods, their choices, and the overall direction of their lives. This is where the hidden truth becomes both unsettling and liberating. Unsettling, because it reveals how deeply our lives can be influenced without our consent. Liberating, because the very same knowledge used to influence us can be reclaimed to free ourselves. It's like suddenly realizing you've been part of a game all along, and discovering that you can play it just as well. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you begin to see these patterns, how they've been preserved, adapted, and quietly woven into the structure of modern life, you can start to trace them back to their origins. And in doing so, you step onto a path of awareness that changes the way you engage with everything around you. Write in the comments, "I choose to see the patterns." When materialism took the place of vibrational wisdom, something subtle yet vital was lost from our collective awareness. Health was reduced to chemical interactions, and the physical body became a machine to be tuned with medication, while emotions were labeled as disorders to be suppressed rather than messages to be understood. Spirituality, once a direct and personal connection with the unseen forces of existence, became dogma, structured, standardized, and stripped of its raw, transformative power. The language of energy, which once guided daily decisions, relationships, and the way people connected with the natural world, was quietly pushed to the edges of society until most no longer believed it existed at all. And yet, behind the scenes, the principles never disappeared. Institutions, be they political, corporate, or cultural, continued to use them, though rarely in ways that served individual freedom. Mass programming operates like a constant broadcast of frequencies, shaping collective mood and behavior without requiring consent. Urban environments are designed in ways that can either uplift or subtly drain, depending on the intention behind their layout. Even the language-saturating media and daily communication is often laced with emotional triggers, words chosen not just for their meaning, but for the vibration they carry and the reactions they evoke. The manipulation of energy didn't vanish, it simply changed form, becoming more sophisticated, less visible, and in many cases, more effective. The real challenge is not in proving whether energy manipulation exists. It is in recognizing how often it's happening without our awareness. Once you begin to notice, you can't unsee it. That advertisement that lingers in your mind hours after you've glanced at it. The rhythm of a political speech that feels persuasive even if the logic is thin. The way certain public spaces feel chaotic while others feel strangely still. These are not accidents. They are designed experiences, crafted to create specific states in the people who encounter them. This is why reclaiming your energy is more than just a personal improvement technique. It is, in truth, a form of spiritual rebellion. To take back control of your own frequency is to step out of the invisible current that pushes most people along without question. It's the moment you stop being a passive receiver and start becoming a deliberate transmitter. And once you step into that role, the grip of external control begins to weaken. Understanding energy changes how you make decisions, how you navigate environments, and how you interact with others. You become aware of what strengthens you and what depletes you, and this awareness shifts your mindset entirely. It's not about retreating from the world or shielding yourself from every influence. It's about moving through life with the ability to read the undercurrents, to know when you're being guided by your own alignment versus when something outside is trying to steer you. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you start to live from this place of awareness, you begin to notice how your personal energy interacts with the larger collective field, and how a shift within you can ripple outward in ways far beyond what you might imagine. Write in the comments, "I choose my own frequency." Everything in existence is in motion, even when it appears still. Beneath what we perceive with our senses, there is a constant vibration, a subtle hum connecting all things. And the most fascinating part is that this vibration isn't fixed. It can be shifted, fine-tuned, even entirely reprogrammed. Your body is not just flesh and bone, but a magnetic field, constantly interacting with the fields of people, places, and events around you. Every handshake, every conversation, every moment spent in a certain environment creates an exchange, whether you're aware of it or not. The thoughts you dwell on, the emotions you nurture, the words you speak, and the actions you take are all transmitting frequencies into this invisible web. These aren't simply personal expressions. They are signals that shape your surroundings and influence what comes back to you. The more consistently AEIDE frequency is broadcast, the more it draws in experiences that resonate with it, much like a tuning fork attracting vibrations of the same pitch. It's not a mystical coincidence. It's the way reality organizes itself around energetic coherence. When you think about it, this changes the way you understand cause and effect. Events in your life aren't isolated accidents. They are, in many ways, echoes of the signals you've been sending out. If your mindset is locked in fear or scarcity, the world seems to mirror that back with situations that confirm your expectations. If your inner state is attuned to possibility, you begin to notice opportunities and alignments that others overlook. This is not about ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about realizing that where you place your attention is where you invest your power. If this resonated with you, subscribing is the best way to stay connected for more. Attention is more than focus. It's a form of energetic currency. Wherever you spend it, you are funding the growth of that reality. This is why certain thoughts, when repeated with emotional charge, seem to gather momentum and manifest more quickly. It's why an idea you obsess over, whether positive or negative, starts to shape the conversations you have, the people you meet, and the choices you make. The mind doesn't just observe reality, it participates in sculpting it, and the medium of that sculpture is vibration. Once you begin to see attention as the steering wheel of your energetic field, you also start to notice how often it's being hijacked. Distractions, emotional triggers, and even subtle patterns in your environment can pull your focus toward what drains you instead of what empowers you. This is where the hidden truth becomes clear. Controlling your attention is one of the most important forms of self-mastery you can develop. It's not just about productivity or mindfulness. It's about deciding which frequencies you feed and, therefore, which versions of reality you call into being. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because the way you direct your energy doesn't just affect your personal experience. It ripples outward into the collective field, influencing far more than you might realize. And once you understand how to harness this dynamic, you start to see that the boundaries between your world and the world are far thinner than they appear. Write in the comments, "I direct my energy with purpose." Every thought you hold with emotional intensity becomes more than just a fleeting mental image. It transforms into directed energy with a trajectory and a target. This is why it can feel so difficult to break free from certain patterns. The more emotional charge a thought carries, the more momentum it gains in your energetic field. It's a principle understood and applied across vastly different arenas. Advertisers use it to anchor a product in your mind by pairing it with strong feelings. Manipulators use it to steer your decisions by provoking specific emotional states. Healers, on the other hand, channel it to amplify intentions of restoration and balance. The method is the same, only the motive and desired outcome change. But to truly grasp the depth of this, you have to understand that your energy field is not a single, uniform layer. It's a complex system made up of multiple bodies that coexist and interact. The physical body, the one you see in the mirror, is just the densest and most visible. Beyond it lies the emotional body, where feelings and moods are stored and processed, the mental body, where thoughts and beliefs take shape, the etheric body, which serves as a bridge between the physical and the non-physical, and the spiritual body, the most subtle layer, holding your deepest sense of connection to something greater. Each of these layers vibrates at its own frequency, and each responds to different kinds of influence. When you encounter conflict, heartbreak, or prolonged stress, the emotional body is often the first to absorb the impact. If the imbalance lingers without being addressed, it can begin to seep into the mental body, distorting your thought patterns, feeding self-doubt, or reinforcing limiting beliefs. Left unchecked, this energetic disruption can eventually filter down to the physical body, manifesting as fatigue, chronic tension, or even illness. The reverse is also true. Intentional, positive practices can send ripples outward through these layers, clearing blockages, raising frequency, and restoring harmony. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most profound examples. When you genuinely shift into a state of appreciation, the emotional body lightens, the mental body clears, and the physical body often responds with more vitality. It's here that the hidden truth becomes unavoidable. The state of your energy is not just about how you feel in the moment. It's shaping your health, your perception, and even your opportunities. Every layer is part of a larger ecosystem, and neglecting one inevitably affects the others. What's remarkable is that you don't need elaborate rituals or rare knowledge to begin restoring balance. Sometimes it's as simple as redirecting focus, introducing a habit of mindful breathing, or creating an environment that nourishes instead of depletes. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you begin to see how these layers interact, how the emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies influence not just your well-being, but your entire trajectory, you start to realize that true transformation is never just physical. It's an inside-out process, where the invisible shifts create the most visible results. Write in the comments, "I align all my layers." Keeping your energy clear is not just a spiritual luxury, it's a necessity. Just as you wouldn't go days without washing your body, your energetic field also requires regular care. This is what we call energetic hygiene, and it's the unseen counterpart to the physical routines we all take for granted. The difference is that while dirt on the skin is visible, energetic residue is subtle. It builds up quietly through interactions, environments, and even your own thoughts, until one day you notice you're more irritable, more tired, or simply not feeling like yourself. That heaviness is often nothing more than an accumulation of unprocessed energy clinging to your field. The truth is, energy moves between people constantly. Every emotional exchange, every physical interaction, every moment of focused attention creates a transfer. Sometimes it's uplifting. You leave a conversation feeling inspired, warm, and recharged. Other times you walk away drained, unsettled, or inexplicably burdened, as though someone has taken a piece of your vitality with them. This is not imagination. Energy can be stolen or unconsciously absorbed, and it can happen more easily than most realize. Without boundaries, your field is open to these constant exchanges, and not all of them are beneficial. Ancient traditions understood this reality deeply, which is why they placed such emphasis on protection and purification. They developed methods to not only shield energy but also to direct it with precision. For them, energy manipulation wasn't inherently dangerous. It was a sacred tool, capable of healing, guiding, and transforming. The deciding factor was always intention. A healer could focus their energy to restore balance in someone's life, while a manipulator might aim to dominate or weaken. The mechanism is the same, but the outcome is entirely determined by the purpose behind it. What's striking is that these protective practices were never about isolating yourself from the world. Instead, they were about engaging with it from a position of strength and clarity. Imagine walking into any situation, whether a crowded street, a heated conversation, or a place with heavy emotional residue, while knowing your energy is anchored, clean, and responsive only to what serves your highest state. That's the level of awareness and mastery energetic hygiene makes possible. It's not avoidance, it's conscious participation. When you start to care for your energy field the same way you care for your body, something shifts in your mindset. You begin to see relationships differently, noticing the subtle exchanges that take place beneath the words spoken. You become more selective about where and with whom you invest your attention. And most importantly, you develop the ability to discern when the heaviness you feel is truly yours or when it's something you've picked up from someone else's storm. This awareness alone can change the way you make decisions, the way you protect your peace, and the way you show up in the world. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you learn to not only protect and purify your energy but to intentionally direct it, you step into a level of influence and creation that few people ever experience consciously. It's here that the invisible becomes a powerful ally, working alongside your intentions to shape the tangible aspects of your life. Write in the comments, "I protect my energy." The mastery of energy rests on three inseparable pillars: intention, frequency, and direction. Think of them as coordinates on a map. Without one, the path becomes unclear, but when all three align, you have a precise guide for moving and transforming energy with purpose. Intention is where it all begins. It is the silent command that tells your energy where to go and what to do, the underlying motivation behind every action you take. But here's the hidden truth. Intention is not simply a wish or a passing thought. For it to hold real power, it must be built on coherence, your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs moving in the same direction without contradiction. When these elements are aligned, intention becomes a force that cuts through doubt and uncertainty like a sharp blade. But if there's a conflict, if your mind says one thing, your heart feels another, and deep down you carry a belief that opposes both, then your energy becomes fractured. That incoherence disperses your power, like trying to light a fire with damp wood. This is why so many affirmations, visualizations, or plans fail to manifest the way people hope. The surface intention might be there, but the deeper layers are sending mixed signals. Pure intention is born when there's unity between what you think, what you feel, and what you believe to be possible. It's the moment when your inner dialogue, your emotional state, and your core convictions are all tuned to the same frequency. When that happens, you don't have to force outcomes. They begin to align with you naturally. This is not magic in the way most people imagine it. It's resonance. The field around you responds because it recognizes a clear, unwavering signal, and it's not just about personal goals. This alignment influences how you interact with others, how you navigate challenges, and how you perceive opportunities. It shapes your decisions in subtle but powerful ways. A conversation feels different when it's backed by coherent intention. People respond to you differently because they're not just hearing your words, they're feeling the clarity behind them. The same applies to projects, creative work, and even healing. Without pure intention, you're pushing uphill. With it, the momentum begins to work in your favor. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because intention is only the first pillar. Once it's established, it must be paired with the right frequency, the vibrational tone that carries your intention outward into the field. Without the right frequency, even the clearest intention can lose strength, like a message sent on the wrong channel. Understanding how to align these elements is where the real transformation begins, and it's in this harmony that energy shifts from potential to tangible impact. Write in the comments, "My intention is clear." Those who understand how to manipulate energy for selfish or harmful purposes rarely begin by challenging your thoughts directly. They go straight for your emotions, because emotions are the architects of your energetic field. If they can seed fear, plant doubt, or stir anger within you, they've already disrupted the harmony of your vibration. Once that happens, your field becomes unstable, easier to influence, and far less capable of holding a steady intention. This is why fear is such a powerful tool for control. It doesn't just change how you think, it changes the frequency you're transmitting, which in turn alters what you attract and how you respond. Frequency, after all, is the secret language of the universe. Everything in existence hums with its own unique vibrational note, from the smallest particle to the largest galaxy. You have one too, and it's constantly shifting in response to your inner state and outer environment. It's not just what you think or feel, it's the total resonance of your being in this exact moment. And here's where the hidden truth emerges. The universe interacts with you not through your words or intentions alone, but through the frequency you're emitting beneath them. This is why two people can speak the same affirmation or perform the same ritual with vastly different results, because the frequency behind their actions is what determines the outcome. You can say, "I am confident," 100 times, but if your frequency is steeped in insecurity, that's the signal the field responds to. The words become hollow unless they're carried by a vibration that matches their meaning. Sound plays a profound role in this process because it bypasses the analytical mind and goes straight to the energetic core. Ancient cultures understood this deeply. They used chants, mantras, and sacred tones not as decoration, but as tools to tune the body and mind to specific states. Drums could ground and energize, string instruments could open the heart, and certain vocal frequencies could trigger deep states of calm or heightened awareness. In some traditions, even single syllables were considered potent enough to alter the trajectory of one's energy when repeated with focus. These practices weren't symbolic. They were practical applications of vibrational law. The Egyptians carved hymns into temple walls because they knew sound would interact with the geometry of the space to amplify its effect. Tibetan monks still use overtone chanting to harmonize not just the mind, but the entire body's energy system. Hebrew letters, with their specific shapes and sounds, were seen as keys to unlocking particular frequencies within the human spirit. All of this was based on the understanding that frequency is both the foundation and the communicator of reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you start to consciously work with your own frequency, learning how to shift it, elevate it, and stabilize it, you realize that you're no longer just reacting to the world around you. You're actively composing the soundtrack of your life, and every note you play has the power to transform what comes next. Write in the comments, "I choose my frequency." Direction is the third pillar, the element that gives shape and purpose to the energy you've cultivated. Without direction, even the strongest intention and the most elevated frequency can disperse into the noise of everyday life. But when you focus your energy like a laser, clear, unwavering, and aimed precisely, you transform it from a passive state into an active force capable of reshaping your reality. This is where your mindset and decisions truly come into play, because direction is not just about knowing what you want. It's about choosing exactly where and how to project your energy so it has maximum impact. When intention, frequency, and direction align, the shift is undeniable. You stop scattering your energy on conflicting desires or fleeting distractions, and instead, every thought, every action becomes part of a coherent signal. It's in this state that reality begins to bend toward you, responding in ways that often feel like synchronicity, but are, in truth, the natural result of energetic alignment. It's not about forcing outcomes, it's about creating such clarity in your field that the outcomes have no choice but to resonate with you. Of course, holding your energy steady requires protection, because once your signal becomes strong and consistent, it naturally draws attention, sometimes from people or environments that can't match your frequency. This is where ancient protective techniques become invaluable. Closing your energetic field at the end of the day is as essential as locking the doors to your home at night. It's an act of sovereignty, a way of saying, "This space is mine." Visualized shields such as the golden sphere, the violet mantle, or the luminous egg aren't just symbolic. They are instructions to your subconscious and your energy field, programming them to filter out what doesn't serve you while amplifying what does. As you apply these methods consistently, something remarkable happens. The people who once left you feeling drained no longer have that effect. Environments that used to overwhelm you seem to lose their grip. Instead of being pulled into the emotional storms of others, you begin to feel like an anchor in your own space, steady regardless of the currents around you. Life takes on a different flow, less reactive, more deliberate. Decisions feel clearer. The noise fades, and in its place you begin to hear the subtle guidance of your own inner frequency more distinctly. And with that clarity comes a heightened perception. You notice the tiny shifts in the energy of a room, the unspoken emotions behind someone's words, the hidden patterns and events unfolding around you. It's as if you've gained a behind-the-scenes view of reality, one where you can see the moving parts and understand how to engage with them consciously. This isn't about becoming untouchable or detached. It's about walking through the world aware and prepared, knowing you have the tools to remain aligned no matter what arises. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because the real transformation begins when you stop thinking of protection and direction as separate skills, and instead integrate them into every moment of your life, so that alignment becomes your default state, not something you have to fight to maintain. Write in the comments, "I focus my energy with clarity." Awareness of energetic manipulation should never trap you in fear. Its purpose is not to make you suspicious of everyone and everything, but to give you a deeper sense of sovereignty over your own field. You already live in the invisible realm every second of your life, whether you acknowledge it or not, so why not claim it as your territory? When you shift from a mindset of defense to one of ownership, the entire dynamic changes. You stop feeling like a passive target and begin to walk through the world as an active participant, someone who shapes the subtle layers of reality instead of being shaped by them. This kind of empowerment doesn't require grand gestures. In fact, it thrives on small, intentional acts that, over time, recalibrate your vibration. The mind loves to believe that change comes from dramatic breakthroughs, but in truth, the most lasting transformation often comes from repetition. Actions so consistent they become woven into your identity. Just as physical health is built on daily choices, spiritual sovereignty grows from the patterns you repeat with presence and purpose. This is why prevention is more powerful than repair. If you keep your energy field clean and fortified on a regular basis, you'll spend far less time recovering from imbalances or repairing the damage caused by unwanted influences. Nightly cleansing rituals are one of the simplest ways to achieve this. A bath with salt not only relaxes the body but also draws out stagnant or heavy energy clinging to your field. Passing incense over yourself can help shift lingering frequencies, allowing your system to reset. Even something as subtle as visualizing a cascade of light washing over you can be profoundly effective when done with clear intention. The key is to treat these practices not as superstitious habits, but as essential maintenance, no different than brushing your teeth or locking your doors at night. They're quiet moments where you reclaim your space, signaling to your subconscious that you are in charge of what stays in your field and what leaves. Over time, these acts begin to rewire your mindset. You start moving through your day more consciously, noticing subtle shifts before they build into something heavier. You make better decisions about where to invest your time, attention, and emotional energy because you've trained yourself to recognize the cost of letting them flow unchecked. When you live this way, the invisible realm stops being a mystery you're navigating in the dark. It becomes a familiar landscape, one you know how to read and interact with. your intuition sharpens, your resilience deepens, and your sense of inner stability becomes less dependent on external circumstances. And that's where the real power lies, not in avoiding challenge or discomfort, but in knowing that whatever enters your space, you have the tools to meet it, transform it, or release it entirely. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when you begin layering these preventative practices with the conscious direction of your energy, you move beyond simply maintaining your field. You begin actively crafting the energetic blueprint of the life you want to live. Write in the comments, "I own my energetic space." One of the simplest yet most profound ways to reset your energetic state is through conscious breathing. Just 3 intentional pauses throughout the day, where you slow down and focus entirely on the breath, can shift your entire inner landscape. As you inhale, picture pure, radiant light flowing into your body, filling every cell with vitality. As you exhale, imagine all heaviness, all lingering negativity, dissolving into the air and leaving your field clean. This is more than a relaxation technique. It's a deliberate act of reprogramming your frequency, telling your body and mind, "This is my state, and I choose it." The same principle applies to the words you speak. Language is not just a means of communication, it's a carrier of energy, a code that shapes both how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. Every phrase you use is like a small frequency broadcast. When you replace limiting statements like, "I can't," or "Nothing ever works out for me," with affirmations that open possibility, "I'm learning how to," or "Opportunities flow toward me," you're not just changing semantics, you're shifting the underlying vibration you live in. Over time, these subtle changes in expression begin to align your mindset, your decisions, and your outer reality. Protection, too, begins in the mind. Visualizing a golden shield around yourself before stepping into the day isn't fantasy. It's a focused instruction to your energy field. When you see that luminous layer in your mind's eye, you're sending a clear message to your subconscious and to the subtle layers of your being. Nothing that is not in alignment with my well-being may enter here. The beauty of this practice is that it's as quick as it is effective. The image alone, sustained with intention, starts to inform the way your energy interacts with the world and the way the world interacts with you. When you combine these habits, breathing consciously, speaking with deliberate power, and visualizing your protection, you begin to notice a cumulative effect. Situations that used to trigger stress or insecurity lose their grip. Encounters with people who once drained your energy leave you unaffected. Or, even better, you leave the interaction without losing any of your own light. This is not about building walls. It's about creating a permeable, intelligent boundary that knows what to allow in and what to filter out. It's a quiet form of self-mastery, one that works in the background of your day, yet influences everything from your emotional state to the choices you make. It doesn't take hours of practice or elaborate rituals. It takes consistency, because the truth is, you are shaping your energy every single day, whether you do it consciously or not. The question is whether you'll let that shaping be random and reactive, or intentional and aligned with the life you want to create. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because once you start layering these techniques with an awareness of the environments you choose and the energies you expose yourself to, you unlock a level of influence over your reality that goes far beyond simple protection. It becomes active creation. Write in the comments, "I choose my energetic state." Every place you enter carries its own history, its own emotional residue, its own frequency. Some environments feel like they breathe life into you, spaces where creativity flows, conversations uplift, and time seems to move in harmony with your own rhythm. Others feel heavy the moment you step inside, as if the walls themselves have absorbed years of tension, conflict, or despair. This isn't imagination. It's the lingering energy of what has happened there, still present in the unseen layers of the space. Learning to read and respond to these environments is as important as any personal practice you do at home. Choosing your environments wisely is not about living in a bubble or avoiding every challenge. It's about recognizing which spaces support your highest state and which ones consistently drain it. Sometimes you can shift the atmosphere by entering with strong intention, using breath, visualization, or grounding to stabilize your own field. But there will also be times when the most aligned choice is to withdraw. Protecting your energy doesn't always mean fighting to hold your ground. Sometimes it means stepping away before the weight of the place begins to shape you. This awareness extends far beyond physical spaces, digital environments, conversations, even the media you consume all carry an energetic signature that interacts with your own. The posts you scroll through, the news you listen to, the background noise of your daily life, each one leaves a subtle imprint. Over time, these imprints can either strengthen your field or weaken it. This is why living consciously means becoming a curator of what you allow into your awareness, just as much as what you allow into your home. At the heart of it all is the truth that you are not a passive receiver of energy. You are a vibrant, sovereign being, radiating your own unique frequency into the world. Every thought, every choice, every interaction shapes that frequency. When you don't direct it consciously, you leave space for others to do it for you, whether intentionally or not. And this is where the real power shift happens. The moment you decide to take ownership of your vibration, you stop being moved by every external current and start steering your own course. Living this way is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's the difference between drifting through life on autopilot and moving through it with awareness, making decisions from a place of alignment rather than reaction. You begin to notice how your energy changes depending on where you are, who you're with, and what you're focusing on. And with that knowledge, you can design a life that reflects your highest state instead of one that constantly pulls you away from it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because once you fully embrace your role as the director of your own vibration, the question becomes not just how to protect it, but how to expand it, how to turn your energy into a living force that influences the world around you in ways you never thought possible. Write in the comments, "I claim my vibration." If you've stayed with me all the way to this point, it probably means something in today's journey resonated with you. That's exactly why I share these ideas, so they can meet you where you are and spark the kind of reflections that shift the way you move through life. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing so you don't miss the next conversations we'll explore together. And I'd love to know you made it to the end. Leave a comment saying, "I'm with you until the end," so I can see who's walking this path alongside me. If this exploration connected with you, a like on the video lets me know this is the kind of content that matters to you. And if you're ready to go further, there's a video right here that complements everything we've just uncovered. Click it and continue with me over there.